interview with my uncle Steve Wedge. Alright, and we'll start with our first question here. Why did you join the service?
Well, I knew I was going to be drafted. I was still in high school. Everybody that was of age was being drafted immediately, so I chose to choose my destination.
What branch of service were you involved in?
United States Air Force.
How did your parents feel about you joining?
They couldn't wait for me to leave.
Where did you do basic training?
Lackland Air Force Base in Texas.
What were the culture shocks of meeting people from around the country?
Well, no, there was quite a bit because I was basically from Brockton all my life, hadn't been outside the state. The Southerners were quite a shock. They just different.
Any interesting stories of when you were in basic training?
None that I care to repeat here.
What was your military occupation or specialty?
Jet engine mechanic.
What zone or district did you operate in during combat or during the Vietnam War?
Well, I wasn't in direct combat, but I was stationed as temporary duty over in Utapao, Thailand. I typically went on 90-day or 6-month missions, and it was in support of the U-2 reconnaissance airplane.
Did you feel that there was any racial tension between people in Southeast Asia and the military personnel?
I didn't encounter any. They loved to see the American money, and they would try and sell you anything and everything, and even charge you with stuff you didn't even buy.
Did you feel that the Vietnam War was a civil war, or was a justified war for the United States to be in?
Those questions at the time when I joined, I really didn't have a choice. I was going to be drafted, so I didn't even contemplate those at that time. Looking back, there's still a lot of conjecture around it. I don't think anybody is satisfied with any answer, but it's something we went through. If I had to do it over again, under the same circumstances, obviously I would have gone.
Do you have any experience any acts of heroism while you were over in Thailand?
Well, the only thing I was involved in is we had over in Utapao, Thailand, there was a village called Utapao West, and they had quite a torrential downpour, very serious flooding, and ended up going over and evacuating a village just to basically save them. And this is probably a story I could tell you, but get into a little canoe to go out to the little fishing shacks. It was a fishing village, and people are stranded up on their, almost like a porch, but it's like a little dock. And so there's little kids. So you get in the boat, go out there, you bring the kids and the people into the boat, and go back and go get some more. Well, this one time, guy I was in the service with, we went into the one shack looking around, go to get back into the boat, and there's these huge water rats. They had taken over the canoe.
Wow.
So we basically had to jump into the water, tip over the canoe, and get back in to get the boat back from the water rats.
Wow. I believe, from what I remember, is that you were in, your picture was in Stars and Stripes magazine?
Well, as part of that Utapao West village, I ended up in a photograph carrying one of these little children to safety off of their porch or fishing dock, and somebody snapped my picture.
Nice. Were officers in the Southeast Asia and Vietnam as bad as they were portrayed in movies?
Well, you got to realize the officers that I dealt with were all Air Force, and they were pilots, and typically they were U-2 pilots or C-130 pilots. It was basically like a big family. We all got along very well because we depended upon each other. So I'm sure it's a little different being a foot soldier as opposed to being in the comfort of an Air Force hooch. We didn't have air conditioning. We just had screens, and mosquito tents.
Did you feel that the American side was winning the war, or did you even get to experience that? Was it just basically the daily grind of doing your job?
Well, we'd get feedback from armed forces radio and things like that, and obviously they give you their viewpoints of it and try to make you feel like you're doing a good thing for a good reason. The only thing we saw was all the B-52s taken off over and over when they had that Tet Offensive and all of that. It was just bomber after bomber after bomber taken off, all of them loaded up with full armament, and so we just knew there was a lot happening. We didn't really know the effects of what was going on. I mean, our outfit was involved in aerial reconnaissance, and I was present at the time when they first revealed the photographs of the mobile missile sites. There was always talk about it, but they had no actual proof. So I was in a group of about 30 people that knew it before the United States knew it. We knew it there at our location in Thailand before the President knew it, before the Pentagon knew it. And they showed us the photographs.
Wow, that's amazing. What did you think about the Vietnamese and the people you were fighting against, or the people that, like, during your time in Southeast Asia?
Well, we knew they were very clever, very mean. Everyone, I think, my perspective, people on the stateside thought they weren't that intelligent, but when you get over there and see some of the things that they can do, they're very smart, very creative. So I think difference of opinion from being stateside in high school, getting over there and seeing the people and talking with the people, and it's a little bit of a wake-up call that things aren't as they appear.
Could you trust the people and the personnel that you were working with, local personnel? Like, was there any thought or activities of espionage or counterinsurgencies? Or
well, you couldn't really trust them, and you just knew that you couldn't. And I mean, their creativity, they stole a 40-foot flatbed truck off the base, right, broad daylight, right through the gates. They got through.
Wow. So
there obviously some coercion going on, and so that told you right there was no trust. I mean, 40-foot flatbed's kind of hard to hide, you know.
Did you have any resent or hatred towards the hippies or the peace movement back home? Did you experience that?
No, I mean, I had an opportunity actually to go to Woodstock, but I was home on leave, but for whatever reason I didn't. But it's everybody, had the right to do what they wanted to do, so let them do it.
Did you have any close friends that were killed, either while you were doing your thing in Southeast Asia, or any friends, like close friends of yours from basic training that?
Yeah, I went to school with a guy, and I actually was home on leave, and was picking up my brother from high school, and I bumped into him, and he had just gotten back, and he was in the Army, and he was right on the front lines. He was a foot soldier, and he was telling me all these stories about being in the machine gun nest and having them overrun and have to shoot and all that. And I said, well, I'm glad you made it, welcome back. He says, oh, I'm going back for more. Well, a month later, he got killed, he got blown up. So his name's on a plaque on the Vietnam Wall. He's also at the Brockton City Hall.
Did you feel any high or euphoria from what your activities were you doing, like working on the U-2 spy planes and
I felt
during the bombing missions that they had in the offensive?
Well, I felt glad to be a part of it, just so that we could get some insight as to what was going on, and maybe get some, help save a lot of wasted effort to know where stuff is. But I just enjoyed mechanical work, been kind of mechanically inclined, so I just got satisfaction out of that and the training that they gave me.
Did you have any experiences or know of any experiences, or did you feel that there was high prevalence of drugs in Vietnam or in Southeast Asia? Did you happen to run across that?
The only thing was weed. That was about the only thing that I was aware of, because it was growing wild out there, and people, nobody that I knew personally was taking it, but I heard stories about it.
Did you become disillusioned by anything that you saw while you were over in Southeast Asia? And Uh, any activities that you felt weren't appropriate for the time, or were you just basically in the grind of keeping your job going?
No, I didn't see anything. I mean, it was just like a job, like you said. You get up, go to work long hours, go to USO, have some supper, and go back to bed, start all over again.
How were you treated when you returned home? Were you treated with any disrespect or?
No, very uneventful. I don't think anybody other than the immediate family knew that I was back, and there was nothing. Was very quiet, uneventful.
Any other experiences that you would like to talk about while you were in Vietnam? I know you worked on the U-2 spy plane. And
well, it's actually just to set the record straight. I was in Utapao, Thailand.
Yeah.
I did make a day trip into Saigon, and the one thing I will comment on that is standing on the tarmac next to a C-130. We were picking up some equipment and some personnel, just kind of looking over at the edge of the perimeter of the base, seeing the Huey helicopters firing down, and seeing gunfire, hearing explosions. It looked like you were watching like a fireworks display or something at a fair, some sort of a demolition derby. It was surreal, and because I wasn't actually a part of that, it just was that. It was surreal, and I'll never forget that, just watching it and seeing the gunships go down. But other than that, nothing else. No other real stories.
What was your biggest regret while serving for the armed forces in Southeast Asia?
Biggest regret?
Or did you have a big regret?
Well, when you say regret,
or anything that you might have
a personal regret?
Yeah, do differently.
Well, if I didn't have to go at all, that's. But I mean, like I said, pretty much had to go because of the situation, and it's either be drafted or join. The regret is I did kind of miss the normal things that most people do after high school, college and all that stuff. So as a result, I ended up taking professional training courses through corporations. So I missed that whole college scene. Also, missed my younger brother's teenage years, and it seemed like I missed a part of that growing up with the family.
Did you receive any medals or commendations during your service?
Just, the standard unit awards that they gave out for, efforts, but nothing personal. I mean, the unit did receive the Presidential Unit Citation for, discovering all this information and stuff, but those were done behind the scenes, and they just send you out a piece of paper to say, you can wear this as well.
All right. How would you have won the Vietnam War?
I don't know. Blow them to hell, No, that's not really winning. I don't think there was any winning the war. I think maybe if we had set our goals a little lower and we could have gotten out sooner and more graceful, then there would have been all this turmoil. But I don't think there was really any winning of it. About all we could do is save face. So in hindsight, I think if better communication from the top had been given out, then we would have been probably more on the same page, and things would have worked out a little bit better and shorter with less life lost.